Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is John with Tommy's Top Picks here to bring you the first ever Pokemon Market update. If you like this content, leave a comment below. If you haven't done that in the past and you do like this content, please do that this time. You obviously don't need to show support with likes or clicks or comments or whatever most days, and that's fine. But in this case, I really do want to get feedback on whether people want to see this content or not. If you don't want to see this content, smash the downvote button. I would love to see that data. I will be looking at the data around these for about a month. I'll eye the data, and if it looks like people are into it, then we'll keep it going. If they are not, then we will cancel this series and think of something else to do. Either way, I'm doing this for my own purposes, as I've described in my other market updates and other places. I think the podcast as well. So I'm doing this one way or the other, but I thought I'd share the data with you. I have had some valuable insights that have gotten me some good positions on Pokemon products, so I figured I'd share it with you guys. Anyways, let's jump into the numbers, and we'll do this a little slowly this first time, but as we go through it and get kind of the pace and understanding of it all, then we'll be able to pick up the speed of it, and we'll just do that as we go. So let's jump in. This is not listed in order of set, unfortunately. The easiest way to pull the data is alphabetically. So you'll note that it's in alphabetical order, not set order. There's no quick and easy way for me to change that with what I have and how I'm doing this. So it's just going to have to be that way. I hope you can bear with it. Alphabetical order is probably as good as anything, huh? Yeah, no, maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. Anyways, so just a quick explanation for those of you new to this, market update. Heat map. This is the heat map over here. It's red if it went up 5% or higher. It's blue if it went down 5% or higher. It will always be the higher, it will be a negative or positive, obviously. So it cools off, it heats up, right? And then we have the green to red band, and this is on a scale. The coloration is on a scale based on the variance within the columns. So, for example, 16 is the highest, negative 10 is the lowest. So you see a variance between the two, and that's how that gets set, which is why you'll note that like this is darker than this because the variance in this set is on the delta of price, which is negative 150 to positive 70, right? Yeah. Yep. Which is why this is darkest, that's the furthest, that's the darkest in red, because that's the furthest that way, and most things are positive or very close to positive, which is pretty interesting about Pokemon markets. I'm learning a lot about the market, the arbitrage opportunities, and the kind of volatility within it. It's very interesting as I discover more and realize more by watching this data over time. I will share those insights with you, so hopefully that's useful. Anyways, let's jump into the data. All right. Astral Radiance over the past couple months has only really had one dip and then a spike back to the mean. You'll note it's pretty rock solid over 2 months at around 103, 104, which seems to be about the release price of most products. Occasionally it will dip below if there's a second wave or third wave or whatever. And then at that point, you can get a discount. Typically speaking, that is true across the Pokemon products I've been watching with a slow drift up over time. So, battle styles. This is set 5. We've had 2 of those versus 10, which this is the first one that I have on recording. You'll see more volatility further back. I think that's true in the cases as well, generally speaking, but the cases are much more stable. So, battle styles, what we saw was a dip and a revision to the mean, a dip and a revision to the mean, and you'll note that we range between $80 and $95. So, we're back at basically the top that we're trying to break through as a price point. Brilliant Stars has not moved at all. You'll note this bold number. That means it was close to 5% change, but it wasn't. So 4 something is when I will bold the numbers. In this case, that's the only one in the boxes. I believe I got that right. I did transfer some of this data over, so there may be some minor mistakes here or there, but it won't matter over time. All this data will disappear into the background, and we'll move on with better and more recent data. Chilling Reign at 108. Nothing really big there. Oh, sorry. One thing I forgot to say. Battle Styles up 11.8%. 8%, almost 12%. That's pretty good. That's a big move up and something interesting. Now, since it is back at the mean, it's probably not that big of a deal for most of you. It's just because it dipped and then it moved back up. So anyways, Darkness Ablaze up 16.6%, 7% almost. You can see it's done this before. Dropped down, popped up, right? Back to 134. So this is kind of its high, or it's a little bit low. It's a lower high technically. We'll look at the charts and I'll talk about what that means. But basically it is going back to its stable state price. And we had a slight discount for a week, which is what happens. You get these crazy discounts. People dump them. Some store needs to unload inventory. It gets on the market, and then people gobble it up, and it goes back to the normal price. Evolving Skies up 5.8%. Has been pretty stable as it's moved up. So we had this 235 kind of price range. We had a jump to 260, then it dropped back down to 250. Stayed in that range for a little while, creeping up, and then it popped back up a little higher, back to 270. So it's kind of getting out of control again. We'll see if we get another dip. Nope, it got hot and then cooled off, right? Got hot. Let's see if next week it cools off. Same thing with this one, right? Cools off, hot, cools off, hot. So next time, maybe 2-3 weeks out, you see it cool off in battle styles, it might be time for a heat situation to come up next. I think that's worth keeping an eye on. I think Evolving Skies is particularly worth keeping an eye on, especially if it cools off next week, because if it drops real low, it will be worth grabbing. We'll see where that lands. The markets are kind of in turmoil, and I will talk about macro things on this channel as well from time to time. Probably not this week, because we got a lot of stuff to introduce. Rebel Clash is the next one of note, up 11.35%. 2 cool weeks in a row. So it went down for 2 weeks in a row, and now it's reverting to the mean, but it's lower than the previous highs. You'll note it has dipped down a little bit. It is still above the 190 price, kind of 90 price range that I started at, but that's cherry picking data because this is in the middle of a long series of data I don't have. Over time, that stuff will become more clear and not as big of a deal. Nothing with Silver Tempest yet. It's basically been sitting at that 104 to 110 kind of price range. That's what you expect with a new release. Sword and Shield, way old. This one is sitting pretty stable at 219. Let me know in the comments if there's something about first sets. Like, I know there's supplemental sets and that sort of thing. Do they define a set? Do they set some sort of thing? Are they like a core box in Magic? Are they less valuable for some other reason? Obviously, we know that Evolution or Evolving Skies, the EVs set, and that's very popular. And I'm sure that's true of some of these other sets. But let me know in the comments if there's something about Sword and Shield. You know, why is this not, $300 a box? And I'm guessing it's because it's just a normal progression, but I could be wrong, right? Something to learn, and I'm here to learn. Vivid Voltage, nothing. Sat still. It did drop down last week, and it's still low. So maybe this is a good time to buy if you're into that. As always with this, I am not offering any financial advice. I'm a guy that slings cardboard and looks at data. Really enjoy data, and I'll tell you what I see, but it's not financial advice in any way, shape, or form. Let's move on to the cases. So these are far more stable, you'll note, but it's worth looking at and just seeing what happened. Nothing too crazy. Astral Radiance is up almost 4%. Nothing on the next sets, alphabetically speaking. And then we get to Lost Origins, which is obviously is the new one, is up 4.8. You'll note bold. So these were changes of about 5%, like 4 and some change. Again, we're 4 and some change. You will note if you look at the price, 60, 89, 62, 89. So it's just bouncing around in that range. Not much to note there. We'll look at the chart and I'll show you what that means. It's basically a price channel. It's not breaking out upwards or downwards at this time. Eventually, with collectibles, supply runs out, and what ends up happening is it breaks towards the upside, generally speaking. Sometimes they will stay flat for longer than you expect, though. Rebel Clash is an interesting one. So the case dropped by 10%, which is no small amount. It's $150 savings from previous times. And you'll note this whole 2 months, it's been at 1,500, rock solid. So a drop of 150 of 10% is a sudden move is a fairly significant move. A 10% discount's no joke, and it's worth noting and seeing because that means they are cheaper. It also presents, I believe, we'll look at the charts. I believe this one presents an arbitrage opportunity. When we look at the charts, I'll call it out for sure if that's happening. That's another thing this data reveals. It reveals the times, which is when arbitrage opportunity is, where you can buy a case, crack it open, sell the individual boxes, and if you do it fast enough and the fees are low enough for whatever reason, connections, etc. you have, then you actually will make extra money just doing that simple act of selling the individual boxes versus buying the cases. So good times to buy as a collector, good time to buy if you're one of those people that wants to have a whole case. I am starting to do that myself, and then you hold on to the case and eventually sell the single boxes, which usually the case sells for a premium, so you don't necessarily want to do that until it goes up very high, or you can just sell the case later, right, which will probably have a bigger and bigger premium over time. That's typically how it works, at least in the Magic world. I am new to the Pokemon world. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, and that's a silly idea, and that doesn't happen. I suspect it does, though. Let's go on. Next thing of note is Vivid Voltage down at the case level. Up at 9.73%, so almost 10% jump. It was after a cool off. It is again back at its previous kind of top. You'll note that it was higher before that, so we were generally downtrending after a spike up to this 800 level. We're downtrending here, reversion to the mean, downtrend again, lower than the last low, and then back to that mean. So interesting price activity happening on Vivid Voltage. I'm going to keep an eye on this one. Might get lucky and get a nice little buy in here. All right. Usually at this point, I would jump into cards and singles. I am not very familiar with them, so I'm not going to bore you with that because I'll just stumble over things, not know how to pronounce things, not know anything about them. I don't play the game. I have played it. I just don't play it, so I can't keep up with the meta. I don't know any of that stuff. If you think that stuff is interesting, again, let me know in the comments, and I will start doing some research and try to get myself up to speed. Otherwise, we're just going to do price data stuff here and talk about macro trends as that happens. So let's jump into the charts. Right, you can see all that? Okay, good. All right, so this was a little weird to replicate in Excel, but it did work. I think I will move my flesh and blood stuff over to this. It does have some funky features, which you will see in a second. Let's go ahead and start at number 1. All right, so that animation is one of the funky features. Sword and Shield, number 1, basically the base set, doesn't have cases available, so there's no arbitrage. You can just see the price action. You see it's a general downward trend, but this is short-term data, so this is like cherry picking. Over time, this will expand and we'll have a lot more data points, so don't worry, this will get more and more detailed. This is just the data I have so far. Not much to report here because there's not much data. All right, Sword and Shield 2, which is Rebel Clash. The gray line represents a case divided by 6. So if you buy a case, crack it open, and sell the individual boxes, what would the price be based on that case price? Here it is. This is the premium that I was talking about. You usually see a case selling at a box level for higher than the individual boxes are on the market, and that's the case premium. That's the gambler's premium. That's the premium related to the fact that in a case, you're more likely to hit the power card, the valuable card, the chase card, etc. So as a result, usually 1's in a case, 2, 5, whatever the number is. The point is that math works out. So if you buy a whole case, you have a higher chance of the good cards, which helps you recover the value of it versus the individual boxes, which are more like lottery tickets. In this case, the gambler premium is still intact. There is no arbitrage opportunity, and so there's not much to report here. We just see a general uptrend, slow but steady on these, and solid rock steady on the case with it dipping down. Maybe we get an arbitrage opportunity in the next few weeks. We shall see. That is on Rebel Clash. Let's moving on to Darkness Ablaze. This one's great. Rock steady case value at about 130 a box. Volatile individual box value, right? I don't know what that is. If you know, let me know in the comments. Is there like a particular chase card that's super rare in there? Or very interesting that people are like, I gotta give it another shot, buy another box, but they don't necessarily want to spend it on the whole case because the case maybe doesn't make up the difference, obviously, with these low per box prices. Either way, we have an arbitrage opportunity of a whole $2, we'll call it, not even $2, right? $1.50, we'll say. $1.50. $1.50 arbitrage is not worth doing it because you have to pay for shipping, you have to pay taxes, you have to pay all these other things. So it's not worth doing unless you have a discount that gets you this case for cheaper than the list price on TCG Player. I have no idea how old you can go on Pokemon, but I don't think you can get Darkness Ablaze at the distributors anymore. Yeah, let me know if I'm wrong in that. I'm pretty sure that's true, though. Anyways, Vivid Voltage, moving on. Everything's intact here. Nothing special to talk about. It is has a nice premium of $20 a box. Nothing real special there. Moving on. Battle Styles. Okay, this is what I was talking about, the crazy channel, right? So this is your high. This kind of, well, actually, let's just draw it straight across here. So here's your high. That's your roof, your ceiling. Here's your floor. And you'll note, it's hard to see in this because there's so few data points, but you'll note that what's happened is it keeps hitting this roof, it bounces into the roof, bounces into the roof, and then it drops down. And it drops to this floor that's kind of hanging tight, right? 84.93, which I guess is kind of the low distributor price, like, or maybe making break even with distributor price, something like that. Maybe a few bucks so you cover your shipping or whatever. So this is kind of the floor that stores are willing to sell it at. And then it keeps trying to break out because supply is running out, demand's there, blah, 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 and it's not doing it. The whole time, the cases are holding up because these are usually bought by stores, not individuals, right? And so they're holding up in place, pretty steady Eddie as far as it goes. Now, ultimately, if this breaks out, that will create an arbitrage opportunity where you can buy this, $100 a box case and then sell. I think this is going to hold it back for a while, right? Because we're talking about Battle Styles here, which has some pretty negative market connotations on it. People are not as excited about it as others. I think it's less playable cards. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments. I believe that's what Tommy said. He knows this stuff better than I do on the actual card lore and interest and all that stuff. Yeah. So moving on to Chilling Reign, another one that's not super popular, but not bad. You will note huge ARB opportunity for a long time. Then it shifted up. This is what you see. Okay, so this is cards in general running out of stock. Boom, price jump, and then it's flat as a rock. That is normal in the kind of case level, in the supply level, basically distributors and store level. Demand side, you usually get jaggies like this because it's like every few weeks people have money or whatever to spend, and you'll get this up and down, and it usually stays in a pretty stable thing. The fact that this is going up over time means there is an overall upward demand, and that is why, boom, you got a new floor for the cases. This will probably happen again. You'll get this volatile moment, and this is worth noting, right? Volatile moment for the boxes that's on an upward trend. And this, like, breaking out above, giving you that ARB opportunity that has variance above it, and then watch for this to pop up and then create a new floor. And that will be, I imagine, what we see in most releases. It's probably exactly what they are trying to go for as publishers, because Pokemon does like stable secondary markets. They're very intent on keeping it both out of scalping range, but also collectible. You know what I mean? So it has a little bit of both sides of that equation. So they seem to be doing that pretty well with Chilling Reign. It looks like the market is accepting it. We are seeing a slow move up from these kind of sub-base prices, which $100, $104, $103 seems to be the base price for new releases. We're seeing this move up slowly over time. It is 6 sets pack, so it's been a while. Evolving Skies, the fancy number 7. So this one's crazy. We've seen all sorts of crazy volatility here. I wish I had further data because I really wanted to see it, but you can tell there's an upward trend, right? Up and to the right, generally speaking. The cases even have an upward trend. They have settled here. ARB opportunity and Evolving Skies. We're talking, I can't quite read that, 69, so $15, that is within range of actually making money, particularly if you can get these for distributor prices instead of the price that I have listed from TCG Player. I'm not sure if that's true anymore, but if you can, there's opportunity there. And I imagine a lot of stores have been doing stuff like that because obviously the volatility around these boxes has been crazy, and volatility is opportunity if you have capital. Moving on. These take longer than Fab. There's a lot more sets. Evolving Skies. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was a Fusion Strike. Yep, I know what I'm doing. I don't. Fusion Strike. So massive ARB opportunity on Fusion Strike. You can get them for about $100 a box, less than. Well, okay, let me correct that. Not a massive opportunity. An opportunity has presented itself for a long period of time. It is only 103.95, so you got to note the scale changes with each box. That's important. So 98 to 103, $5. You got to do the math every time. It's not worth it. It's less than Fusion Strike. Fusion Strike's at a higher premium and a higher level. Typically, that happens. The higher up you go in the prices, the wider the spread. Even though at scale it looked like it was smaller, it is much larger. It's 3 times as big as this, right? Because it's kind of the way the data zooms in. So Fusion Strike, not worth doing. ARB opportunity. Interesting that the case is stay as a rock while prices on boxes continue to climb. Question mark what that's about. Anyone know in the comments why Fusion Strike is holding so high on individual boxes? Why do people like opening it? What's in there? Is it Charizard? Is it a Pikachu? What is it? Tell me in the comments. I don't know. Because I don't follow the individual Pokemons. I follow prices. Let's see. Brilliant Stars. We do have the premium intact. You'll note a lot of volatility around this. Curious why that is. Because these are elevated prices for a set that's not that old. Interesting. This one might be a high flyer or a quick grower. I'm not sure how you would describe it, but something like that. Because usually they sit in that 105 range for a while, and this is not that old, and it's already up in the like 200 range. So I would say, I guess, grab these while you can. Well, no financial advice. I'm thinking I should grab these while I can, because they're clearly on an upward trajectory. They went from what was a flatter line to a more upwards line. Might flatline again, might come back down, but point being that you are on an upward trajectory with a healthy premium intact. If these tighten, I will definitely grab it. We'll see though. Moving on, Astral Radiance, slight ARB opportunity, $6-7, nothing crazy. This was pretty good. That was $20 at that point. This is the opportunity that I look for buying the cases. If I get that, I tend to jump on it if I can. This is on Astral Radiance. I do have some of this, but not a case worth. Moving on, Lost Origin. So I did get this one. I did luck out. I want to say I got it. I think it was here, actually. Yeah, I think it was the first week I did data grabs. This is why I did it, because I saw the ARB opportunity. I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty good. It's about $20, a little bit less, but it's close, right? And so that's a good ARB opportunity. I didn't crack it. The whole idea was just getting a cheaper case, knowing that eventually you'll get the premium and the spread will happen. I'm holding right now. That's kind of my game plan, and I've talked about that in my other market updates about my general game plan. I'll go over that at another episode of this, but for now, that's what I'm doing. And then, last but not least, Silver Tempest. So ARB opportunity here. $10, right? Not that big. It's okay though. Probably not going to do it unless you have distributor prices that get you lower than this, which a lot of people probably do have, right? Because distributor for the latest set is still going on. So if you're getting another $10 discount, you're getting it for say 85 or 80. You're now talking about $20, $25 a box. That makes money, right? That's actually money in volume if you can pull it off. And then over time, the prices generally go up. So generally, the longer it takes for you to sell it, the higher your margins, making it worth it. So that is how I'm looking at it. I was looking for a case of this. I have not gotten it yet. There was some comment in one of my videos recently about this where they told me about something. This is the Black Friday video. Told me about an amazing sale. By the time I got there, it was only wish listable. I think they had sold out. Sad that I missed it. But that was at $500 a box. It's just ridiculously cheap. And I went looking, or a case, sorry. So I went looking further, and they're at like $570. I'll keep an eye on it though. This is hopefully the price comes down a little bit. We'll see, because they'll do another wave. I imagine this is so new. We'll get another wave of this at least, and if we get that wave, could push it down to the 80s, 85, 83, and that's where I would prefer to strike. So that is it for the Pokemon market update. Please leave a comment, or at the very least, upvote, downvote. Let me know either way. Again, I don't care if you hate this stuff, if you love this stuff, do let me know, because I will respond based on the feedback I get. And we'll do this for about a month, test it out, see how it goes. If it gets popular and people like it, then we will keep doing it. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I will add to the segments. I'll add market update data on general macro trends, on what I'm hearing in the news, on what's happening in individual cards. I'll probably rely on Tommy for that because he knows Pokemon a lot better than I do. He has a history with it. I'm very new to the space. I'm happy to learn from you as well, so please leave the comment. If you can teach me something I don't know I'm clearly dumb about, I'd love to learn it. I love interacting with you guys, so appreciate it. Appreciate you, and I hope that you're out there cracking packs, enjoying this hobby that we love, and having fun. And it's not all about money, it is about having fun. And for me, the data is fun, so this is how I'm enjoying this hobby, part of it. But yeah, I hope you guys are having fun out there. And until next time, have a good one.